Good evening, folks, and a very warm welcome to you wherever you may be. Thank you for joining us here on DinamoTV, the official podcast of St Albans Dinamo Football Club. My name is Tonchi Prusat, and I am your host for tonight, as I am every week. And believe it or not, this is now episode 30. That's right, for 30 weeks, we've been airing Dinamo TV, and we've had some great guests. We've had lots of news, and we've also had some breaking news as well. But tonight we will be crossing to Croatia, somewhere just outside of Osijek. And we'll be speaking with our Vice-President JOHN BILOS, who's over there on a bit of a holiday, but also a bit of a business trip, about a major announcement that was announced overnight. And that is that Dinamo Zagreb is bringing its famous academy here to Australia, and more precisely to Churchill Reserve, home of St Albans Dinamo Football Club. The two Dinamos are getting together, and it is great news for our juniors, great news for the Croatian community in Victoria and indeed Australia, and certainly great news for the, I'm sure, the hundreds, the thousands of Dinamo Zagreb supporters around Australia. Nogometna Škola Dinamo, or the Dinamo Football Academy, released a post on its social media platforms overnight saying, and this is a direct translation, a delegation from the St Albans Dinamo Football Club, headed by Vice-President JOHN BILOS, visited us here at the Maksimir Stadium. At the joint gathering, it was decided that a Dinamo Zagreb juniors camp would be held at St Albans Dinamo in the summer of 2025. When we say the summer of 2025, we're talking about the northern summer. So it's in our winter. So basically, in the second week of the school holidays in July next year, there will be a Dinamo Zagreb Juniors Camp, Youth Academy Camp, with coaches from the famous Dinamo Zagreb Academy. And just how famous the Dinamo Zagreb Football Academy is, the Milan Ramljak Under-19s international tournament was just completed in Zagreb, and it attracted the likes of Manchester United, Panathinaikos, Juventus, and of course Dinamo Zagreb. And lo and behold, Dinamo Zagreb took out first place in the Under-19 competition. Great news there. Also tonight, we'll be speaking as part of our series of getting to know some of the clubs that are going to be sending teams to the Australian Croatian Soccer Tournament to be hosted by Dinamo in late September. We'll be speaking with KARLO LEKO. He is the president of the Brisbane Knights, or Brisbane, Croatia, and they are having an absolute stellar season on the park, and lots of good stuff happening off the park as well. So we'll be chatting to KARLO in probably a little over 20 minutes time, and he'll be joining us live from Brisbane. And last but not least, at the end of the show, we'll be catching up with our senior football operations manager, Jason XERRI, after last week's a week off as a result of the Doherty Cup. This Sunday is the last home game of the season. We come up against Green Gully in the big Western Suburbs derby, and a win over Green Gully will catapult us into 11th spot and Gully dropping to 12th spot. So not only will it obviously guarantee us safety from relegation, but also a little bit of bragging rights in the Western Suburbs as well. Plus, it will be our fifth win in 5 games. So I'm looking forward to chatting with Jason a little bit later on to find out exactly the mood in the dressing room and what Cameron Watson has got planned for the squad ahead of Sunday's blockbuster at Churchill Reserve. Folks, we're going to take a short break, commercial break. When we return, it's time for the news desk, as we usually do each week on Dinamo TV.
The IMD Group is regarded as one of the largest deliverers of concrete structure solutions in Victoria. Formed in 1994 by Ivan and Kathy Filipovic, their passion and commitment to getting the job done safely and economically has underpinned their success in the industry. IMD partners with large-scale building and construction companies in both the private and public sectors on projects large and small. With our corporate headquarters based in South Melbourne and storage yard based in the southeast suburbs, we have at our disposal thousands of square metres of quality materials, along with state-of-the-art lifting and crane equipment, enabling us to deliver the largest projects. We are committed to delivering high-quality projects by partnering with our clients and collaborating with project suppliers to ensure each job is delivered to exceed expectations. From humble beginnings, I&D now employs more than 1,200 dedicated professional and support staff, involved in a number of landmark projects right across Victoria. The I&D Group is a massive supporter of the Croatian community, backed soccer clubs in Victoria, and is proud to be the major sponsor of the St Albans Dinamo Football Club in 2024.
Welcome back to DinamoTV. Time for the news desk. Well, with no games last week in the NPL men's competition, it was a chance for the Dinamo boys to just to have a little bit of a break, but a break they did not have. They had actually a friendly hit out against Western United, their A-League squad at Ironbark. So it wasn't really much of a break for Cameron Watson's men. As we can see there's the ladder where, as we mentioned earlier at the start of the program, we're in 12th position at the moment. We're just 2 points behind Green Gully, who are in 11th position. And lo and behold, this Sunday we come up against Green Gully at Churchill Reserve. It's a chance for the boys in blue to make it 5 wins on the trot. And the main game kicks off at 3 p.m. It promises to be absolutely beautiful weather this weekend. And the under-23s kicking off at 12 p.m. Speaking of the under-23s, they're doing very well at the moment. They're in 5th position on the ladder. They got a tough one, though, against Green Gully, who are on top and runaway leaders at the top of the under-23 competition standings. But nonetheless, Turner's men and Berkey's boys are going to do very, very well of that, we are assured. That game kicks off at 12 o'clock, the curtain raiser, and then the main game kicking off at 3 p.m. So a little bit later on, we'll be chatting to Jason XERRI, who will be the Senior Football Operations Manager here at Dinamo, and he'll be telling us all the latest news or what's going on in the dressing room, obviously, and he'll be keeping us abreast of any new news or any injury concerns maybe, or just what the mood is like heading into Sunday's big game. All right, time to have a look at some of the action between St Albans Dinamo Senior Women's Team and the Geelong Rangers Women's Team. That was a State League 2 catch-up game. Good crowd, by the way. Excellent crowd last Sunday with no men's team in action. It was the ladies that had, I guess, the monopoly of the attention at Churchill Reserve. So great to see a lot of people coming out to support the senior women's team. It was a 2-2 result in the end. Both the Delia sisters, Isabella and Sienna, scoring a goal each. It was a tougher Rangers outfit than the one that we met up with earlier in the season. And a draw is not exactly what we wanted. I guess we wanted a win to stay in contention with top team Westgate. But that means now we drop to now 4 points behind Westgate. We still have to play Westgate. Unfortunately, this week is a bye, so we don't play anyone this week. So it's a bit of a break for the senior women's team. In 2 weeks' time, on Sunday, the 18th of August, Dinamo women travel to the newly renovated Kim Reserve to take on Altona City. They've got an absolutely fantastic new facility that was built by a Croatian-owned company, Lado Jakic and Lower Ram Constructions from Geelong. They had a lot to do with the construction of that. Altona City's new facility, it was very nostalgic to always go there, but it was always run down. But it's great to see that they've got a new facility, and our girls will be able to enjoy the new facilities, the new change rooms. But that is in 2 weeks' time, Sunday week. All right, Junior Boys NPL full round of matches was played over the weekend just gone by. If we have a look at the results, it was 2 draws, a loss, and a win is the summation at the very, very end of that. The under-14s, they travelled up to the border to Albury-Wodonga and took on Murray United. Came away with a point. Dean Allport scoring the only goal for Dinamo. In the under-15s, likewise, Dinamo only scored one goal. Maksim Mikulic, who seems to be scoring a lot of goals this year in the 15s, he scored Dinamo's goal. Unfortunately, it was not enough, as Caroline Springs' George Cross came away with a 3-1 win. In the under-16s, once again, only one goal was scored by Dinamo. Max Wojtek scored that against Brimbank, and Brimbank also only scored one, so a draw sufficed there. Whereas in the under-18s, Dinamo travelled to Pascoe Vale and came away with a very, very important 2-0 win to remain on top of the competition standings in the under-18 Division 3 Northwest Division. Joshua Angelis and Yanni Apostolikas scored for Dinamo. This weekend, it's round 16 action. So there's about 7 matches to go until the end of the JB NPL season. Dinamo hosting the Melbourne Knights at Churchill Reserve this Sunday. The Knights are undefeated in under-14 competition, so it's going to be a tough one. That game kicks off at 11:45, the big Croatian derby. The under-15s travel to Reddish Reserve to take on Pascoe Vale. That game kicking off at 11:15. The under-16s also hosting Melbourne Knights and the Croatian derby at Churchill Reserve, and that one's at 1:15. And then the under-18s travel to Hume City Stadium to take on Hume City. That game kicking off at 3 p.m. We have a look at the ladders now. The Division 3 Northwest under-14s and the Division 3 Northwest under-15s. Firstly, the 14s, they find themselves in third spot. So as we said, they've got a tough game against the table toppers, competition leaders, the Melbourne Knights, who are at the moment undefeated. So they're going to be a very tough task this Sunday. The under-15s, they've dropped to fourth spot after that loss on the weekend to Caroline Springs George Cross, who are second. And then we look at the under-16s and the under-18s. The under-16s are currently in fourth position, and the under-18s are looking very, very good at the top of the competition standings, and let's hope that they can stay there. So well done to the under-18s, who seem to be doing very, very well. Okay, we're going to take a very, very, very short break, I think. Are we going to take a short break? Yes, we are. And when we return, it's tournament information news, all the latest information regarding the Australian Croatian Soccer Tournament. All right, tournament news. What is happening with regards to the tournament news? Now, first of all, with less than 2 months to go, things are really starting to hot up, if you like. During the week, the tournament committee announced several sponsors. We're starting with the gold sponsor. A very big thank you to our new gold sponsor, the AHD Geelong, the Australian Croatian Association Geelong. Prides itself on the ability to deliver your next function, from small birthday parties to expansive wedding receptions. They have the knowledge and facilities to make it a success. The restaurant offers not only traditional Croatian dishes, but also modern favourites. And on Friday nights, guests can indulge in specialty seafood. We've also got several, we've got a platinum sponsor, our very own Evolution Electrical. A massive thank you to our first platinum sponsor, Evolution Electrical. They are your trusted electrical contractor from start to finish with a professional approach. We have established a work environment that feels like family and works as a team. With 3 locations across Melbourne, get in touch and get started. Call us now at 03 8390 8624. Now, last week we also mentioned some of our silver sponsors, Adria International Travel Agency, who come on board as our first silver sponsor. Well, thank you and well done to Adria. And we've also got another silver sponsor, the Inflation Nightclub, which is a Melbourne nightlife institution and a long-time supporter of the Croatian events. We're thrilled to host our Friday disco at Inflation and proud to have them support the tournament. Now, as far as the events, the gala night information has come out this week about the Saturday night gala night. It will also be the 50-year celebration of the the Croatian Soccer Association of Australia. So that will be held at the AHD Melbourne in 72 Whitehall Street. It's going to be an absolutely fantastic night. Tickets are $155 per person. Bookings are essential, and it does include dinner and 5-hour drinks packages. Entertainment at cst2024.com.au is the email address you want to when you want to contact, or contact Lucy on 0435 680 273. Okay, so important to contact them there as well. What else? We've got a heap of the official raffle, of course. Yes, we can't forget the official raffle as well. $20,000 prize pool, total prize pool. $15,000 is the first prize, $3,500 the second prize, and $1,500 the third prize. Tickets are $50 per ticket, and they will be drawn on the 29th of September, and prizes will be transferred on the 1st of October. There's a ladies' lunch happening as well. That's going to be on the Friday from 11:30 a.m. through to 3 p.m. And that is going to be in the Plava Kuća, which is going to be a very, very lavish 2-story marquee facility that's going to be set up between pitches 1 and pitch 3. The tournament disco, of course. Can't forget that. That's on the Friday night and at Inflation, as we just mentioned. And then also there's the fish night on the Friday night for those that are not planning on going to the disco, or maybe they're going to go to the fish night first and then go to the disco afterwards. That's going to be in the main hall at Dinamo, starting from 7:30 p.m. Tickets are on sale at the moment, $120 per person. And if you go to the CST 2024 Facebook page, you will be able to see the link there in the bio, inspired by the flavours of the Dalmatian coast. That brings us to the end of the news desk, but I guess we're going to finish it with an edition of From the Vault, which is just a very short snippet looking at, I guess, the past tournament or held by Dinamo in 1990. So it was the 16th Australian Croatian Tournament, and here's an opportunity to go for a trip down memory lane and see some of the clubs that unfortunately are no longer with us, but that did partake in that 1990 tournament.
Westar Prestige is a family-owned second-generation business which is celebrating 50 years of operations this year. They're a specialist prestige collision repair facility situated in the western suburbs of Melbourne, Victoria. However, they service all regions in the state, with many of their clients travelling from far and wide to use their services. They're also able to provide a digital platform for quoting clients' vehicles who are unable to personally attend their premises. They're an authorised manufacturer-approved repair facilities for Mercedes-Benz, Tesla, Peugeot and Suzuki, and are proud of their ongoing affiliation with these brands. They also work closely with a number of Australia's largest insurance brands who entrust them to be part of their preferred repairer network. Their support staff are always happy to assist clients from the initial process of lodging claims through to the final stages of collection of the vehicle on completion of repairs and post-repair. So remember, for all your prestige collision repair needs, consider Westar Prestige, an award-winning, long-standing Australian-owned business.
Welcome back to DinamoTV. And as we mentioned earlier, as part of our weekly segment looking at some of the clubs that are, or getting to know better some of the clubs that will be taking part in this year's Australian Croatian Soccer Tournament. This week we've got the pleasure of talking to the president of the Brisbane Knights Football Club, KARLO LEKO. KARLO, good evening and how are you?
I'm good, Tonchi. How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. How are things up in Brisbane for start? Is it pretty crazy and busy at this time of year for you guys at the moment?
Oh, look, we're heading into the tail end of the season up here. There's only a few weeks of regular fixtures to go. Depending the weather holds up for us, we've had a lot of rain this year, so there's been a lot of rescheduling. But so far, so good. Looking into August.
Yeah, and you've had an absolute fantastic season so far. Let's talk about that this year. The senior team, they're on the cusp at the moment of claiming the league title and gaining promotion to next season's Football Queensland Premier League 2. And there we are. There we've got the ladder of the top 8. 8 points at the moment clear of second place UQFC. And this week you come up against Mount Gravatt. In fact, it's tomorrow night, and really all you need is pretty much a draw, and the title is yours. Is that right?
Yeah, look, that's correct. It's going to be a quite interesting battle because the only loss this season has been to Mount Gravatt.
Oh, there you go. Gosh.
Who we play tomorrow night. But the boys, it's a pretty hot team. Our first team. They've had a fantastic season with a goal difference of plus 53. And our leading goal scorer is actually the league's leading goal scorer, Buroto Makita, with 24 goals in 19 games.
Oh, wow.
And we've got another 3 of our boys in the top 4 or top 5 goal scorers, all with 10 plus. So it's been... Look, this team's been building for a couple of years, and we were successful in achieving promotion into FQPL 3 this season, and this season they've been even stronger and going into FQPL 2, which is effectively the 3rd tier up here.
Yeah, and so FQPL 3, there's about 5, is that right? 5 or 6 different kind of regional divisions. And then it becomes a unified. Is that right? FQPL becomes a unified division.
Yeah, that's correct. Once you go into FQPL 2, you're in that top 3 leagues, and there's telecast games, live games, and all that sort of stuff. So the level increases, obviously, and a little bit more exposure.
And does it become a lot more expensive as well with running costs and what you're not?
Yeah, look, there's a fair bit of an increase. There's a big jump between the Metro leagues, which we're kind of in now, and then going into those top 3 leagues. There's a significant increase in registration costs of the teams. But you know, we're in it to move forward, to improve, and you can't look back. You've got to keep going and improving.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just a matter of, it's a formality from looking from afar. It's a formality before you manage to get that point and clinch promotion. With that in mind, has the club started already preparing for next season?
Yeah, we've got a fantastic group of coaches. In June, Kay, Damon, Nenad, who looks after the 23s, and our senior director, Fabian Milic, who basically covers and works with all these coaches. We've got a very young 23 side, a lot of Crow boys in there, and they're sitting their third equals second, so they've had a very good year as well.
Oh, well done. So you've got a lot of depth coming through
There is. We've got two quite young squads with huge potential. Hopefully we can keep a lot of them for next year, and I think that even in our current setup, we'll be extremely competitive in FQPL2.
Yeah, fantastic. So exciting times ahead, that's for sure. And it was for a few years it was really tough, particularly off the field there, but it seems to be going really, really well. I know a few years back you had flooding issues, didn't you, at the Croatian Community Centre there?
Yeah, look, we've had two unfortunate floods up here. We had one in 2011, and I believe the other one was 2022. The first one was worse, but I mean, equally they're both quite destructive.
Yeah.
But we've got an extremely strong Croatian community up in Brisbane, and a lot of support from the Gold Coast Croatian community as well.
Yeah,
so we've managed to rebound quite well with help from both communities.
That's fantastic. Let's talk a bit about the Croatian community. Let's talk a bit about the club as well off the field. How has it been going in recent years, or how has it been going this year? Juniors, women's team setup, just overall social side of the club. How is it all functioning at the moment?
Everything's this year. I mean, last year was extremely successful, but this year we've had massive improvement in attendances at games. We're playing a lot of Friday night games, so we've got a lot of juniors there. We've got a lot of other games on, including the 23s and seniors. Our women's team have had a great year. They're in fourth spot, so they've secured finals. Our juniors are going really well. Under sevens won a tournament recently. So we've got a metro side as well. It's a community league side. A lot of Crow boys in that side. And we've got an over 35s, which is not doing so well this year, but has had a lot of success previously. I think it's all catching up to us.
Yeah, that's right, mate. That's fantastic to see. We look forward to seeing you guys in Melbourne later this year, and well, it's in 6-7 weeks, if that. How many teams are you sending down, and who's going to be the makeup of those teams?
We've only got one team going down. I believe it's in Div 2. So that team is a mixture of a lot of 23s players and some Metro boys as well. So they were competitive in Adelaide. They had a really good tournament there, and most of that Adelaide side will go to the Melbourne tournament. So they'll just be looking to improve, but also build on those relationships and that they form at those tourneys. You know how it is. It's a fantastic networking event.
Yeah, and networking from a business, from a social, from all sorts of things. Even love relationships have been known to sprout up in many of these tournaments, but we'll leave that to the younger generation, KARLO.
Definitely.
Doing that, that's for sure. Mate, looking forward to having you guys down. And in the meantime, still there's a lot of work, unfinished business up there in Brisbane. Good luck for tomorrow against Mount Gravatt, a little bit of revenge on the only team that's defeated you guys this year. And we look forward to celebrating another league title for Brisbane Knights down here in Melbourne at the Australian Croatian Soccer Tournament.
Awesome, Tonchi. Thanks very much for having me on. Much appreciated. And I'll keep following your shows, your podcasts. So it's been fantastic. And look to enjoy future ones.
Yeah, good on you. Thanks very much, KARLO. Take care.
Pozdrav.
KARLO LEKO, the president of the Brisbane Knights Soccer Club. When we return, we'll be crossing to Croatia, to Osijek, and we'll be catching up with our Vice President, Johnny Bilos, who's been hard at work on the other side of the globe, stitching up some deals for our club. Folks, don't go away. It's the Dinamo TV podcast. During the week that we had John Bilos visit the Maksimir Stadium, and as we can see some of the photos, struck up a very, very special agreement with Dinamo Zagreb. And we've got John Bilos, the St Albans Dinamo Vice-President, joining us from Osijek, somewhere in Osijek, just outside of Osijek in Croatia. John, good evening to you, and how are you? Or good afternoon to you.
Well, good morning to me, but good evening to you guys. How you going?
Yeah, good, mate, good. The village life seems to be agreeing with you. A beautiful little backdrop there. It's a fantastic little backdrop. Where are you? You're telling me somewhere near Osijek, is that right?
Yeah, a little town. It's called Ivanovac, so it's just outside of Osijek. It's about probably a 10-minute drive from Osijek. And this is where my father was... grew up, basically. They moved from Imotski to Ivanovac, and this is where my family is now. So, yeah, we're visiting here for a week, and then we're off to the ocean, to Makarska. So, yeah, almost at the ocean.
Yeah, that's fantastic, mate. Now, during the week, you spent a little bit of time at Dinamo Zagreb, caught up with our good friend Ivan Novosel from the Zaprešić boys, and also another former Melbourne, another Ivan that spent quite a fair bit of time in Melbourne, and we'd speak about former Melbourne Victory goalkeeper Ivan Kelava. How was that? How was that experience?
That was awesome. They're really professional at Dinamo. As you know, Ivan Kelava is now the goalkeeper coach there. Ivan Novosel has been a really big part of this since they came down to see us. For our presentation night, he's been a huge part of getting this across the line, and you know, including the rest of the committee. So we've been working on this for a while now. It's almost a year that we've been working on this, and we're finally getting some results, and yeah, hopefully we'll see Dinamo Zagreb in Melbourne, in St Albans in July next year.
How exciting is that? So in July, I think it's the second week of the school holidays, they'll be coming down. And have they kind of given an idea? Like, obviously, this is the Dinamo Football Academy as part of Dinamo Zagreb. Have they given kind of an idea as to what they're going to be doing, sending some coaches down or players down? Or because obviously that's their off-season. What are they looking at doing?
Yeah, so we're coaches. Coaches is the main thing. So it just depends on. So we're going to look at those finer details with regards to how many coaches, depending on how many kids we have. We're hoping to get obviously our Dinamo kids there, which would be fantastic, and not only Dinamo kids, but we already get interest from Sydney and other places. So coaches will depend on how many kids we got, and they'll accommodate accordingly. So it'll be a 4 or 5 day event. There could be morning, there could be afternoon sessions. It'll be awesome for our kids. It'll be fantastic. Boys, girls, you name it. Yeah, maybe even you and I, don't you?
Or maybe a veterani or something like that. You never know. But obviously there'll be other things, social events, probably like I know the Hajdukovci have Bila Noć, but the Dinamovci have a Plava Noć type of thing. So no doubt there'll be something like that as well. But how exciting that is, and you know, we've spoken to Ivan Novosel on DinamoTV, and he's really expressed an interest in getting the two clubs a lot closer together. And as you said, he's been a real driver behind all this. But Ivan Kelava, who's a coach, a youth coach at Dinamo Zagreb, at the famous Dinamo Zagreb Football Academy, he's obviously come on board with this collaboration as well.
Yeah, no, Ivan. he met us at Dinamo Zagreb, and the first thing he started talking slang in English. So, how you going, mate? You know, that type of stuff. So he was awesome. He took us through the VIP room, the grandstand, their meeting rooms, which is full on. It's pretty professional, and down to the ground. Whilst we were there, they had a under 19s football tournament. I'm calling that Dinamo tournament. You know, these kids are exposed to. You know, I think Udinese was there.
Manchester United.
Manchester United was there. They were playing whilst we were there. So these kids are exposed early in their career. You know, with clubs, the biggest clubs in Europe. You know, how can we do that in Dinamo somehow? You know, obviously we're a long way away, but you know, we need to start looking at these things and getting our kids to that next level, I suppose.
Yeah. Just for the benefit of DinamoTV viewers, that was the Milan Ramljak under-19s tournament. Very, very prestigious in that age group. And there were Panathinaikos, Udinese, Manchester United, Juventus. It wasn't just second-grade junior teams. It was tip-top A-grade teams. And Dinamo Zagreb won the tournament the first time in 8 years. So quite prestigious. And just like Hajduk Split of a few years back when they got through to the final of the UEFA Youth League, Dinamo Zagreb have got a team that is just oozing talent. And they've even got a few senior players in that team. So we're talking about a program that's very, very high caliber. And, mate, they're bringing their expertise, their knowledge down under to, of all places, St Albans Dinamo. You and Ilya and everyone behind the scenes who have worked so hard ought to really, really be congratulated. Well done.
Yeah, no, a lot of work. Ilya, myself, Stepan, the rest of the committee, all on board. And like I said, Ivan Novosel and Keleva, and including obviously the Dinamo team there, you know, signing contracts, etc., which is awesome. I mean, you know, they talk about people like Viduka and Simonic, and you know, is the next Viduka or Simonic coming out of St Albans Dinamo? Who knows? You know, let's give our kids the opportunity and we'll go from there.
Yeah. Now, some exciting times ahead. I know, speaking to Stepan Gale earlier today, there's some really exciting things that may well even be announced in the next week or so, maybe even the next few days. Not connected with this, on top of this, but this is certainly very, very exciting. And look, it certainly gives everyone a good idea of the direction that St Albans Dinamo are taking off the field. So some very, very exciting times ahead, John.
Yeah. Watch this space with Stepan's announcement. That's next level. Like I said, this will obviously help as well. It's just getting our kids to that next level. So we're trying to give our kids that opportunity, and we'll see how we go.
Yeah. Now, mate, I hope it's not all business and there is a little bit of pleasure as well. What's next for the Bilos delegation?
There's been plenty of, I don't know if you can probably see I put on a bit of weight in the last week. Plenty of cooling, plenty of sluttina, plenty of bees, plenty of bloody beer. I don't drink beer, but my cousin Milenko, he loves it. So, and you can't say no to him. Rakia Polinkovac in the morning. Joj Bože.
When in Slavonia, do as the Slavonci do. Eat, drink, and be merry, that's for sure.
Ja mu kažem, I'll say in Croatian, ja mu kažem, ne mogu više, pukniću, ne mogu više. And he keeps laughing at me. So these blokes are, you know, work on the farm, they work hard, not like me. But yeah, so tomorrow we're off to Makarska. We're there for a week or so. Then we're in Prague for a couple of days. We go to Venice. My wife wants to go on a gondola to be romantic, so we're off to Venice, and then back to Brač, Zagreb, and Australia. So lots to do. It'll be busy, but it's an awesome holiday.
Good on you, mate. Thank you so much for joining us. We really, really, really appreciate you coming on board DinamoTV and taking some time out from your holiday there in Croatia. But there's a few more. Last time, a couple photos from Dinamo. Before we let you go, actually, we'll just ask you a few questions about Dinamo Zagreb's behind the scenes. Yeah, how is it like? I mean, everyone talks about the actual stadium being such run down and everything, but you know, behind the scenes, the dressing rooms, the boardrooms, and VIP suites, it's a different world, is it?
Yeah, no, it's professional. That's they've got, I don't know how many rooms they've got, and they're all full time. There's probably about 15, 20 rooms in that corridor. In that we saw that photo. from media people to you name it, they've got it. VIP room, the grounds. Actually, the surface is magnificent. Yesterday and I didn't want yesterday. We were soaked. Zagreb, I suppose. They tell us that Zagreb can bring on the rain. It certainly did. So we were soaked. So yeah, Caitlin, Tanya, and I were a little bit wet, but it's well worth the atmosphere, regardless of it raining or not. The songs, the chanting, it didn't stop, and I think it ended up being 5-0, which was a really good game to watch, I suppose.
Yeah, and I'm sure one day when the Maximir is rebuilt, I guess a new stadium is built, and that may take a few years, but hopefully that it will be just as good as the Opus Arena in Osijek, which I'm told you may be visiting later today. So enjoy that.
We went to the old stadium, but we'll go to a new one in Osijek and see what that's like, and maybe bring some info back to St Albans.
Yeah, take lots of photos. John, thanks for joining us on DinamoTV. Enjoy the rest of your trip to Croatia.
Well, one more thing. Let's hope our boys get the job done on Sunday at Dinamo. Let's all get down there and support the boys, and hopefully we're back again next year.
Welcome back to DinamoTV, and Johnny Bilos appears very, very relaxed all the way from Croatia. He's put on a few kilos, as he says. Too much of the good life. Well, it's now time for our final guest on tonight's episode of DinamoTV, and it's always an absolute pleasure having this man on. He's the Senior Football Operations Manager, and it's an absolute pleasure to have Jason XERRI join us here on DinamoTV. Jason, Johnny Bilos is looking very relaxed, isn't he?
He sure is, mate. Well-deserved holiday. He works very hard behind the scenes for the club, and it's good to see him be able to sort of mix some business with pleasure and having to spend some time with his family over there. But it looks like he's having a good time, and hope he continues to enjoy the rest of his trip.
Yeah, and speaking of feeling relaxed, I tell you what, the coaching staff and the football administration staff, and indeed the players in the dressing rooms, are a lot more relaxed these days. 4 wins from 4 games, that's fantastic. We're kind of out of the woods, although it's still mathematically possible but so we've still got a job to do on Sunday against Green Gully. But let's talk about the last 4 weeks. 4 wins from 4 games. The mood must be a lot different nowadays than it was, say, a month or so ago.
Oh, look, definitely. There's obviously some new faces in the change room, and that coupled with obviously some of the guys that have been here all season, I suppose, and it's just good to see. I guess the hard work that's gone into all year, but especially the last probably 5-6 weeks have shown that since Cam and Billy have come on board, that transition it was going to take a while, but you can see there's the fruits of it now. So
yeah,
it's good to come home strong at the pointy end of the season. There's still a job to do on the weekend. Hopefully by this weekend we can breathe a little bit easier and go into the last round against South Melbourne, knowing that it's all clear and we're in the NPL 1 2025.
Yeah, let's have a quick look at the ladder. We'll bring the ladder up on screen there. And as we can see, we don't want to say we're home and hosed just yet. We don't. And I guess this is the important thing. It's our last home game on Sunday. If ever the boys really needed a lot of support from the Dinamo fraternity, it's this weekend. And there's a lot more at stake. Obviously, local bragging rights against Green Gully. Early in the season, we had the better of them. We just sort of conked out towards the end. So a lot at stake for this Sunday, isn't it, Jace?
Look, absolutely, and there's no doubt about it that from our point of view, we're definitely going into the fixture, irrespective of what happens on Saturday, with the mindset that we business as usual and trying to get the 3 points. We set out at the end, set the goals at the start of the year were to finish as high as we can, and that means there's 6 points up for grabs between now and the end of the season, and we'll do everything we can, irrespective of what happens below us, to try to maintain, a strong finish and finish as high as we can. We're pleased with the recent results and pleased that we put ourselves in a position to, I guess, come home hopefully comfortably. But saying all of that, it's let's not sugarcoat it. We're not where we wanted to be at the start of the season, and we've dug deep, and it's been a testament to the coaches that have come on board, who have steered the ship in a different way. And it took a while, as I said earlier, to get that rhythm happening. But the inclusion of a few new players as well has made a massive difference. And but certainly from a club's objective is to finish as high as we can. And again, we've got 2 games to go, 6 points up for grabs, and we're going to try to get 6 points.
Yeah. Now, mate, for someone like yourself, and you've been with the club for 10 years, I mean, you deserve a long service leave break, but the last thing that's going to happen for you is you're going to have a break, because obviously straight after the season, we've got the Croatian Soccer Tournament, and that's going to be obviously huge. And I guess we're hosts, there is that little bit of expectation that we're going to perform well. But I guess then looking further afield to next season, before you know it, next year's competition will start early February, but the planning and the preparation starts well and truly before then. Has planning even started for next year now, before this season's even finished?
Oh, look, certainly there's been some preliminary talks regarding next season in regards to certain things and some in-house stuff that we discuss amongst the coaching group. There's obviously, I guess the hardest thing at the moment is just to, establishing what the rules and regulations are going to be for next year. I don't know how many people know this, but at this point in time, with 2 rounds to go, we still don't know whether 1 or 2 teams are going to get relegated.
Yeah, I mean,
we're not. For us, we're not being governed by that in regards to our attitude or our processes and procedures as far as finishing the season off, because irrespective if it was 1 or 2, we want to finish higher than that. But planning for next year, you just don't know whether the player point system is going to still be in place. You don't know how many teams in the competition. So there's still a lot of variables there that will determine the way you sort of structure and the way you work towards next season. But there's some, the fundamental stuff. We've already had some basic conversations around that, and some planning. And look, I guess from my point of view and from the coach's point of view, and especially the sort of the football part of the committee at the club, Ilya and Johnny and Mickey and so forth, that really nothing stops for us at all.
Yeah.
There actually is no break. So it's part and parcel, it's part of the role that we all play. And, you have to sort of start planning ahead. Now, again, to reiterate, the hard part is you don't know. You've got to be kind of a little bit cautious in the steps you take, because you've got to plan according to what the structure is. Look, there's a lot of people out there in our football community that probably don't understand the player point system. For those that don't understand it, it's pretty much instead of having a salary cap financially, we don't have a salary cap, but we do have a point system cap, and that makes a massive difference to the way you recruit and who you recruit and how you recruit. And before we know what's going to happen with that, it's very hard to, you can start onboarding a couple of players start moving a few on and so forth. But you can't make any drastic changes because
Now,
until
from what I understand of the player point system, I guess you get a lot of, well, I don't know if it's bonus points, but you certainly get an advantage if you have homegrown players and with that, young players. Now, we've managed to do a lot of that. We've blooded quite a fair few young players from the under-23s, and they've done really, really well. We had one example last week on the show, Luka Chabraya, who's broken into the senior team and is a regular. But we've got numerous other examples as well. As a senior football ops manager, mate, that must be one of your most pleasing achievements, I guess, from a club's point of view, of blooding a lot of those youngsters. I mean, we've had, half a dozen or close to half a dozen players taste senior football this year. Kudos to everyone involved with the football department. That's absolutely brilliant.
Look, it is, and it's something that the club, has done, demonstrated over many years, and especially back in the days in the late 80s, early 90s, and so forth, where a lot of players went on from Dinamo to play for the Knights or other places, went on to playing A League or National League. And I think the one thing that's really pleasing for all Dinamo, I guess, members and especially parents with youngsters of the club. And I guess the conversation you've had with Johnny earlier today about Dinamo, getting involved from overseas, but also some of the work that Stefan Gall and the junior committee have put together for the programs going forward at the club. It all sets itself up for youngsters getting an opportunity. And, it is definitely pleasing to see the likes of Luka Chabraya come through. You've got Nicholas De Bono coming through, still a youngster. He's only 17. Johnny McLaris, although hasn't been at the club for a long time, he's come through. Obviously Oliver Dragicevic as well has come through, albeit, that he spent a couple of seasons at City. So, but he's a Dinamo boy through and through. So there's some really, really good positive signs. And I look at, the club's, I guess, philosophy in regards to the football department and I guess the way it structures its recruitment, and combining that with obviously, getting some experienced players, because you do need that at this level. You can't maintain the position at this league with just playing with kids. But I guess there's a nice balance going forward, and hopefully with some of the structures that's being put in place regarding our junior sector of the club, that's all going to be again positive for the future. But look, it's something that you speak to Ilya, and he's a big advocate of this, and so is Mickey Pete and Johnny and so forth. And the club never gets lost in its identity and its DNA and what it's trying to do.
Yeah.
And youth development is a major part of that. And very proud to be at a club where that's taken place. But saying that, being done in a way where it's being responsible and not throwing the baby out with the bathwater and trying to do too much at once. It's a gradual kind of steps that everyone's taken. And I must add, it's really important to note, part of that success and some of these kids coming through, is a lot to do with the relationship between the senior coaching staff and the under 23s. And the under 18s. That's something we'll be focusing on again. But Adam and Tanini and Ian Burke have done a wonderful job in preparing these players, and they're so involved in the whole structure, and that makes a massive difference to some of these kids getting an opportunity. And so, from that point of view, I think albeit that the season from a senior team perspective per se on its own probably hasn't been wonderful, but there's been a lot of positives that have come out of it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You speak about youth development. Stay tuned, folks, over the next couple of days and certainly by next week's episode. Let's just say Dinamo will be making a massive, massive announcement on top of the Dinamo Zagreb collaboration as well. Stay tuned for that. And also you mentioned something about in the 80s and 90s, a lot of Dinamo players there went on to play for the Knights and elsewhere. and they had a very illustrious career. You could name them, reel them off. But one of those players tomorrow night will be bringing the curtains down on his playing career. Former St Albans Dinamo Junior, played at the seniors, then went to the Knights. Ivan Franic, who now is captain coach or coaching the Melbourne Knights, he will be playing his last game, home game for in front of the home fans tomorrow night at Knight Stadium. So do get along to that as well. But yeah, Jason, you're absolutely right. When you sort of put everything into perspective and what is happening behind the scenes, it's certainly very, very exciting stuff for the future. But in the meantime, all roads lead to Churchill Reserve on Sunday. Big game there at 3 p.m. And do come along a little bit earlier. Apparently, it's going to be in the low 20s, the weather forecast says. So it's going to be an absolutely gorgeous day. The 23s taking on the top team, Green Gully, at 12 o'clock. And it'll be absolutely fantastic to see where they are at with regards to playing the best in their age division. But Jason, once again, thank you so much for coming on the show. Really appreciate it. And good luck, mate, for Sunday.
No, thanks, Tonch. And I just wanted to say, I guess regarding the weekend, like to see, it'd be great for the boys to see as many Dinamo supporters there as possible. It'll be definitely, I guess it's either going to be a cup final and a big party, or a big party, because we'll know by Sunday on what's going on. But irrespective, it'll be great to see, the support that we've seen over the last probably 5 or 6 weeks. The boys really appreciate it, and we thank you all for being there for us throughout the season.
Should be a fantastic day. Jace, once again, thank you very much, and good luck for Sunday.
Thanks, Tonch. Cheers.
Good on you. And that, folks, brings us to the end of yet another DinamoTV episode. Huge show. And next week promises to be an even bigger show. Like I said, huge announcement to be made during the week. Can't talk about that tonight, but we will next week, no doubt. Hopefully by then we'll also know if we're safe for next season as well. And that will be very, very exciting. And hopefully we'll also get to talk to another club that will be participating this year at the Australian Croatian Soccer Tournament. Folks, once again, thank you for joining us on Dinamo TV. Until next Thursday night, mi smo Dinamo.